They're very disappointed, as I am, because obviously it was a fight that was highly anticipated and we all wanted to see.
Stressed out in those situations. It's just fun. We got to deal with
getting fucked up in sparring, and that could be the case. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have any insights as to what's been going on recently. I have heard from
the Ryan Garcia fight just got blown up, and the reason is absolutely devastating for everyone involved.
Or cancel the matchup.
He's gotten hit with a hard left hook, one that he didn't see because it was right on his eye, and it looks like it landed pretty flush, as you can kind of see here. Question is, which one of those two things is happening, and question is, how is it going?
Mario Barrios posted that
Mario Barrios was deep in sparring, pushing his body to the absolute limit, preparing for what could be the biggest fight of his career against Ryan Garcia. Then disaster struck. One hard shot during a heated sparring session and his elbow exploded. We're not talking about a little soreness or some minor discomfort that fighters usually push through. This is a legitimate injury that forced him to make the gut-wrenching decision to pull out entirely. Think about what that means. Barrios has been training for months. His team has invested everything into this camp, and now one moment of bad luck in the gym destroys it all. The timing couldn't be worse. This fight was supposed to be his chance to prove he belongs at the elite level, to show he can hang with someone like Garcia who's been getting all the attention and hype. Instead, he's sitting on the sidelines nursing an injury that came at the worst possible moment.
So I don't want to say that, but I'm hoping that some of the news we're hearing that it doesn't look like he has any major injuries is true, and that would be fantastic, and obviously he'd be a very lucky boy.
But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Barrios isn't just disappointed, he's devastated because he knows what this does to his momentum. Listen, in boxing, timing is everything. Miss your window and it might not open again for years. He's been chasing this level of opportunity, and now he's forced to watch it slip away because of something that happened in practice. The frustration is eating him alive. You can hear it in his voice when he talks about prioritizing his health. That's fighter speak for "this is killing me inside, but I have no choice." And the worst part? He knows people are going to question his commitment, his toughness, his ability to stay healthy when it matters most. Fair or not, that's the reality of this sport.
I almost suffered some sort of ankle injury. Maybe I was just seeing things with that one. But he is injured. It's not really specifying. I don't know why. I'm sure I saw it was ankle, but maybe not. Maybe I was just seeing things.
Now get this. Eddie Hearn is trying to stay optimistic, hoping the injury isn't as serious as it sounds, but you can tell he's scrambling behind the scenes. Promoters hate uncertainty more than anything because it messes with their entire business model. They've got TV deals to honor, venue contracts to fulfill, and pay-per-view numbers to hit. When your main event fighter pulls out weeks before the fight, that's not just disappointing, that's a financial nightmare. Hearn's playing it cool publicly, talking about getting accurate information and not jumping to conclusions, but privately. He's probably having emergency meetings trying to figure out how to salvage this situation. The fans are anxious, the networks are asking questions, and everyone's waiting to see if this fight can be saved or if they need to start from scratch.
Dubois, we'll see what happens, but that's for them to overcome now, and it's a very difficult situation.
Hold up, did you catch the confusion around what's actually wrong with Barrios? First it was his elbow, now there are reports about a possible ankle issue. Nobody seems to have the full story, which makes this whole situation even messier. When you don't have clear information, speculation runs wild. Some people think he's making excuses. Others wonder if the injury is worse than anyone's admitting. The lack of transparency is driving everyone crazy, from the media to the fans who have already bought tickets. And here's the kicker in boxing: mysterious injuries always raise eyebrows. People start wondering if there's more to the story, if maybe the fighter was looking for a way out, or if the injury is being used as cover for something else entirely.
Get to this point in training camps, when I really dial in, really pay attention, really just go all into this, just like let my mind go. It's like you get into this mode where it's almost like just pictures playing in your head. Like when you're training, you're not even there really. You're just in a whole different dimension.
But wait, it gets worse. Frank Warren is painting a picture of absolute chaos behind the scenes. This isn't just about two fighters anymore. You've got promoters scrambling to salvage their investment, television companies trying to figure out if they still have a show to broadcast, and fans who have already made plans and spent money. The ripple effect of one fighter getting hurt is massive. Warren knows this game inside and out, and he's seen how quickly things can fall apart when injuries happen at the worst possible time. The stress level is through the roof for everyone involved because boxing operates on razor-thin margins. One canceled fight can cost millions of dollars and destroy months of careful planning. The pressure to find a solution is enormous, but the options are limited.
The people direct and then make a decision if he's out.
Okay. When did you first learn about this, Frank?
Very late this afternoon,
Okay, so it's been a stressful day.
to say the least. For the fighters as well. It's a shame for the fighters, for everybody involved, TV companies, and more importantly for the fans. Riyadh season, His Excellency, everybody involved with this. We're all gutted, but what can you do?
Here's what nobody's talking about, though. While all this drama is unfolding around Barrios, Ryan Garcia is sitting pretty. The guy has been training like a man possessed, completely locked in mentally and physically. His preparation has been flawless, his mindset is dialed in, and now he's watching his opponent fall apart before they even get in the ring. Garcia's team has to be feeling confident because they've done everything right while their opponent is dealing with injury drama. But here's the thing that makes this interesting. Garcia is so ready for this fight that he's probably frustrated it might not happen. When you're in peak condition and your opponent pulls out, that momentum you've built can be hard to maintain. He needs to fight someone, and soon, because staying at this level of readiness indefinitely isn't realistic.
And I'm saying that's fake news. I'm not having that. So let's wait and see. If it's true, that's a shame. You'll have to get to the bottom of it. But I'd heard this yesterday, but I just put it down as fake news. It's not real. So all we can do is react to what we know. So we can speculate.
And get this, Johnny Nelson is trying to be the voice of reason, telling everyone to slow down and wait for confirmed facts. But that's not how boxing works anymore. In today's social media world, rumors spread faster than wildfire, and once a narrative takes hold, it's almost impossible to change. Nelson's right that people shouldn't jump to conclusions, but the damage is already done. Fans are already speculating about what really happened, whether Barrios is really hurt or if this is strategic, and what it means for both fighters' careers. The court of public opinion doesn't wait for official statements or medical reports. They form their judgments based on incomplete information and run with it.
We've underestimated certain fighters and fighters that should never beat a certain guy and have gone in there and shocked the world because of this person took their...
Now listen to this part. Anthony Joshua dropped some serious wisdom about the dangers of underestimating opponents and how preparation is everything. But his comments also highlight why Barrios' situation is so devastating. In boxing, you can't afford to take any risks, and an injured fighter is a liability to himself and everyone around him. Joshua knows that even minor injuries can have major consequences when you're facing someone with Garcia's speed and power. The fact that Barrios got hurt in sparring while preparing for Garcia just proves how seriously he was taking this fight. He wasn't coasting or taking it easy. He was pushing his body to the limit, and unfortunately his body broke down at the worst possible moment.
I've seen the doctor, and the doctor will make that decision on whether he should fight or whether he shouldn't fight. I mean, listen, this is the hurt business. You can only go in there 100%, so...
Here's the kicker, though. Spencer Oliver is absolutely right that health has to come first, but that doesn't make this any easier to swallow. Medical professionals will make the final call on whether Barrios can compete, and if they say no, that's the end of the discussion. But think about what that means for Barrios' career trajectory. He's not getting any younger, and opportunities like fighting Ryan Garcia don't come around often. Missing this fight could set him back years in terms of getting another shot at a big-name opponent. The harsh reality is that boxing is a young man's game, and time isn't on Barrios' side. Every month he spends recovering is a month he could have been building momentum and proving himself against elite competition.
For him, because I just believe when you look at the power of Barrios, is not really devastating. When you look at his boxing ability, he's a good fighter, but nothing really sticks out as great. I just think he's a solid fighter, but I just don't think he's the best champion out there right now.
But here's where it gets absolutely insane. Antonio Tarver isn't holding back with his assessment of Barrios, calling him solid but not extraordinary. With the injury forcing him out, Tarver's basically saying this fight wasn't going to be competitive anyway. That's brutal but probably accurate. Garcia has been looking like a different fighter lately, more focused and disciplined than we've ever seen him. Even a healthy Barrios would have been facing an uphill battle. Now with the injury situation, it's clear that Garcia was going to dominate this fight regardless. The question becomes whether it's worth rescheduling at all, or if everyone should just move on and find Garcia a different opponent who can actually give him a competitive fight.
Barrios, I've said that Barrios is one of the worst world champions in boxing right now, and I know that sounds a bit harsh, but like every time he gets put in there with a world level guy, he either underperforms or just straight up loses, right? Keith Thurman's a loss. Gervonta Davis gets knocked out. The Manny Pacquiao fight, obviously not a great night for Mario Barrios. So
And Wade Plamings is absolutely destroying Barrios' reputation right now. He's pointing out a pattern of underperformance against top-tier fighters, and now this injury situation just adds to the narrative that Barrios can't handle the pressure when it matters most. That's devastating for a fighter's career because once that reputation sticks, it's almost impossible to shake. Promoters start looking elsewhere, fans lose interest, and suddenly you're fighting for smaller purses against lesser opponents. The injury might heal in a few weeks, but the damage to his credibility could last for years. Boxing is as much about perception as it is about ability, and right now the perception is that Barrios isn't reliable when the stakes are high.
Garcia, with some of the clips we've been seeing of him, some of the snapshots that have been taken of him, to say he looks in good shape is a bit of an understatement. He is looking in very good shape. Now, Ryan Garcia is an interesting one. Ryan Garcia, when he was fighting at 135 pounds, he had some really good performances, and then he has some...
Now here's what's really wild about this situation. Liam Guff is breaking down just how dangerous Ryan Garcia looks right now, and it's honestly scary for anyone who might have to face him. Garcia has transformed himself from an inconsistent prospect into a legitimate threat at this weight class. His speed is explosive, his accuracy is pinpoint, and his stamina has improved dramatically. The footage coming out of his training camp shows a fighter who's learned from his past mistakes and evolved into something much more complete. Even if Barrios was healthy, Garcia's preparation and focus suggest he would have dominated this fight. The injury just makes it more obvious how big the gap was between these two fighters.
There's not a far-gone conclusion that Ryan can take out a guy like Barrios, man. Barrios is experienced. I don't give a damn what anybody says. He got a lot of experience, man. He got the best resume at 147 pounds, right? He's a champion. You know what I mean? He's been in the ring with Tank Davis as well. He's been in the ring. Who else was the guy he'd been in the ring with? That was
Pacquiao recently, obviously.
Pacquiao recently, and there was another one.
Thurman, was it Thurman?
Yeah, Keith one-time Thurman. So I mean, he's felt resistance.
But wait, there's more. Tim Bradley is trying to give Barrios some credit for his experience and resume, pointing out that he's faced elite competition like Gervonta Davis and Keith Thurman. That experience is valuable, but it doesn't mean much when you can't actually get in the ring. Bradley's analysis shows that while Barrios has the tools and experience to potentially give Garcia problems, the injury completely shifts the dynamics. All that experience becomes worthless when you're sitting on the sidelines watching your opportunity disappear. Garcia, meanwhile, is in peak condition and hungry to prove himself against world-class opposition. The contrast couldn't be more stark. So here you have it. Mario Barrios' elbow injury has completely destroyed what could have been a career-defining fight, leaving Ryan Garcia in an uncontested position while everyone scrambles to figure out what happens next. This situation perfectly captures the brutal unpredictability of boxing, where months of preparation can be wiped out by one bad moment in sparring. Garcia's momentum is undeniable, his preparation has been flawless, and now he's left waiting for someone else to step up and give him the fight he deserves. The question isn't whether Garcia would have won this fight, it's whether anyone at this level can actually challenge him right now. So here's what I want to know from you, drop it in the comments. Do you think this injury situation actually saved Barrios from a brutal beatdown, or did he miss the chance of a lifetime to prove himself against Garcia? And who should Garcia fight next if this Barrios situation can't be salvaged? If this breakdown helped you understand what's really happening behind all the confusion, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell because Garcia's next move is going to be massive and you don't want to miss it. I'll see you in the next one. But hold on, before you go anywhere, we need to talk about what this injury situation reveals about the bigger problems in boxing right now. Because this isn't just about one fight falling apart. This exposes the fragile infrastructure that the entire sport is built on. Think about it, One sparring session gone wrong and suddenly millions of dollars are in jeopardy, thousands of fans are left hanging, and an entire event could collapse. That's not normal in any other major sport. When an NFL quarterback gets hurt, they have backup plans. When a basketball star goes down, the team adjusts. But in boxing, one injury to a main event fighter and the whole house of cards comes tumbling down. And here's what's really messing with my head about this whole situation. Garcia has been posting training footage that looks absolutely terrifying for anyone who might have to face him. We're talking about a fighter who's hitting pads with the kind of speed and precision that makes you question whether he's even human. His footwork is crisp, his combinations are flowing like water, and his power looks devastating. The man is a weapon right now, and Barrios getting hurt might have actually saved him from a highlight reel knockout that would have ended his career. But get this, and this is where it gets really interesting, Garcia's team might actually be relieved that this fight isn't happening. Yeah, you heard that right. Think about the risk-reward ratio here. Garcia is on the verge of massive fights with huge names and enormous paydays. Getting in the ring with Barrios, even an injured Barrios, carries risk without much reward. If Garcia dominates, people say he beat up a hurt fighter. If something goes wrong and Barrios catches him, Garcia's momentum gets derailed right when he's hitting his peak. Now here's something nobody's considering in all this chaos. What if this injury situation is actually the best thing that could have happened for both fighters' careers? Stay with me on this because it sounds crazy but makes perfect sense when you break it down. Garcia gets to maintain his momentum without the risk of an underwhelming performance against a compromised opponent. He stays active, stays relevant, and can move on to a bigger fight that actually moves the needle. And Barrios? He gets time to heal properly, reassess his position in the division, and maybe come back against someone more suitable for his current level. Because let's be brutally honest here, the writing was on the wall for this fight even before the injury. Garcia has been looking like he's operating on a completely different level lately, and Barrios was walking into what could have been a career-altering beatdown. But here's where the politics get absolutely wild. Behind the scenes, there are probably conversations happening right now that would blow your mind. Promoters are making calls, managers are negotiating, and television executives are trying to salvage their investment. The amount of money at stake when a major fight falls through is staggering, and everyone's scrambling to minimize their losses. Eddie Hearn is probably working the phones like a madman right now, trying to find a replacement opponent who can generate similar interest in pay-per-view numbers. But here's the problem, you can't just plug someone else into Garcia's spot and expect the same level of excitement. The build-up, the storylines, the marketing campaigns, all of that was specifically tailored to the Garcia-Barrios matchup. Starting over with a new opponent means starting over with everything. And speaking of replacement opponents, let me tell you something that's going to shock you. The list of fighters willing and able to step in on short notice against Garcia is probably shorter than you think. Top-level fighters don't just sit around waiting for last-minute opportunities. They have their own training camps, their own schedules, their own career plans. Finding someone who can generate excitement and actually give Garcia a competitive fight on short notice, that's like finding a unicorn. Here's what's really eating at me about this situation, though. The fans are getting screwed over once again, and nobody seems to care about their experience. People bought tickets, made travel plans, took time off work, and now they're left hanging while the boxing world figures out what to do next. This is exactly why casual fans get frustrated with boxing, and why other sports continue to grow while boxing struggles to maintain relevance. But wait, it gets even more complicated. Garcia's training camp has been expensive and intensive. His team has invested significant time and resources getting him ready for this specific fight. All that preparation, all that focus, all that mental and physical conditioning, it can't just be put on hold indefinitely. Garcia needs to fight soon, or all that peak preparation goes to waste. And here's something that's going to blow your mind about the business side of this disaster. The financial implications go way beyond just this one fight. Television networks plan their programming schedules months in advance. Venues book events based on confirmed dates. Sponsors commit marketing budgets to specific fights. When everything falls apart at the last minute, the ripple effects touch dozens of businesses and hundreds of people's livelihoods. Now let me tell you about the psychological impact this has on Garcia himself. The man has been building toward this fight mentally for months. His entire routine, his motivation, his competitive drive, it's all been focused on facing Barrios on a specific date. When that gets taken away, it's not just disappointing, it's mentally jarring. Some fighters struggle to maintain that same level of intensity when their target keeps moving. But here's where Garcia might actually benefit from this chaos. The extra time and attention this situation is generating keeps his name in the headlines without him having to do anything. Every day this story develops, people are talking about Ryan Garcia. Every expert who weighs in on the situation mentions how ready Garcia looks and how dangerous he's become. That's free marketing that money can't buy. And check this out, the injury situation has actually highlighted something really important about Garcia's evolution as a fighter. The old Garcia might have been frustrated, might have let this setback affect his training or his mindset. But the footage and reports coming out of his camp suggest he's staying locked in, maintaining his focus, and treating this as just another obstacle to overcome. That mental maturity is exactly what separates elite fighters from everyone else. Here's what's really wild though. This entire situation might force Garcia into a bigger, more meaningful fight than Barrios ever could have provided. If the promoters can't salvage this event, they might have to pivot to a completely different opponent. Someone with more name recognition, more fan appeal, or more championship implications. Sometimes disasters lead to opportunities that wouldn't have existed otherwise. But let's talk about the elephant in the room that nobody wants to address. The timing of this injury, the confusion about what's actually wrong, the mixed messages from different camps, it all feels a little too convenient for some people's liking. Now, I'm not saying anything shady is happening here, but in boxing, skepticism comes with the territory. When fighters pull out at the last minute, especially from big fights, people start asking questions that go beyond medical reports. The truth is, we may never know the full story behind what happened in that sparring session, or how serious Barrios' injury really is. But what we do know is that this situation has created a massive opportunity for someone else to step up and face Garcia when he's looking better than he ever has before. So here's my final question for you, and I really want you to think about this one. Is this injury situation actually exposing how fragile and poorly structured boxing really is? Or is it just bad luck that could happen in any sport? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this conversation is far from over, and your perspective might be exactly what we need to understand how boxing can fix these problems moving forward.